Draft week is officially upon us, Johnny Venerable. The wait is over, and there's a favorite to land at 16 with the Arizona Cardinals.
Will said player even be available? We've got the latest with the recent report you will not want to miss. We're not missing this. It's NFL Draft Week, kicking it off. Cards After Dark on Easter. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from a Sunday night, Cards After Dark. Not Studio K, but presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Bo Brack. Happy Easter, my guy. Damon Dog getting us up and running here on a Sunday night. Yeah, a little rabbit man. This is not your WrestleMania post-game show, by the way. I saw a lot of people suggest that. No. We're here to talk ball. Don't you dare bring up pro wrestling around my co-host.
No, never. I will immediately tune out. I'm out on that. But I'm in on Cards After Dark. What's going on? I love it. Yeah, I like it. Mike Meyer, K2, Braden Rubble, Anthony. I see you. I see Bees, Schaff. The squad, Humble Rumble, always good to see in the chat as well. Johnny C, Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights, Sean Paul, Edward De Dios, Animal TV. Somebody asked, as the I guess the Open was going on, is this live? Yes, it is live, as it's kind of become an annual tradition. 2 weeks leading up to the NFL draft, we go live Sunday nights because we're infected by just the sickness that is NFL draft fever. Talking about this Cardinals team. And we got lots to talk about. We're not short on topics.
No, we're not. Listen, we were going to lead our show, and we're still going to lead our show with the presumed favorite to be drafted by the Arizona Cardinals at 16. I'm ready to shoot my shot, if you will.
Ooh.
And then Peter Schrager put out a report. We're going to get to both of those things, but I want to remind everybody, hit that like button as we kick things off here on a Sunday Cards After Dark. It helps exponentially, as does all of your support. Welcoming new diehards this week. Again, you can still pick up your diehard membership for just $36. Plus, of course, tickets still available, limited quantities for our draft party. We're going to talk about that later in the show this coming Thursday night. But let's get down to brass tacks. Of course, B's in the chat, kicking us off with a super chat, $2. JV, get ready to learn Jihad Campbell per Mina Kimes. I can't and I won't. And I love Mina Kimes. Many times has she graced us with her presence here, friend of the program on the show, but we will not be celebrating Jihad Campbell. He can go celebrate in Green Bay or wherever he lands, Bo.
What is the of course, Mina Kimes, who joined us throughout the NFL season? What is she saying about Jihad Campbell besides the mock draft that she did with Dane Brugler? Is that what we're referring to, where they had a mini trade down with the Seahawks and the Cardinals took Jihad Campbell, or is she hearing things? Is there some buzz about Jihad Campbell that I haven't seen because I've been cracking eggs and eating chocolate and stuffing my face during this Easter Sunday?
I hope not. And listen, she's tapped in with this team schematically, but I don't think she'd consider herself like an insider with this team per se. And here's what I'm going to tell everybody right now. We had our most up-to-date Big Five on Friday's show. And if you haven't seen it, here it is. Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Will Johnson, Walter Nolan, and Mykel Williams. I feel better about this group after this weekend. I feel really good about this group. And here's where I'm going to throw out a little bit of a nugget here as we kick off the show. I think Mykel Williams will be the pick if he's there at 16. Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan in that kind of next tier. Kenneth Grant, presumed by many to be probably a a later first-round pick at this point, and then the wild card is Will Johnson. But as it stands right now, if you're asking me my opinion, if I were to put money on it with our friends in Vegas, and we'll talk about Vegas here in a little bit, if Mykel Williams somehow made it to 16, I think he's the selection for the Redbirds, Bo.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense schematic standpoint, as you've got Abdul Carter and then you've got Mykel Williams, I think, as far as pass rush makeup, probably the best that this draft has to offer. After that, things get a little bit murkier. Things get a little bit closer, tighter, right? It's shoulder to shoulder as far as you start to try to decipher between the James Pierce Juniors, the Mike Greens, the Donovan Ezerakus, Landon Jackson types, where I think Mykel Williams, as far as just build, makeup, I think he is Fran Duffy is very intrigued by him as he has his edge too, and also as a comp as Josh Sweat. I think if you were to look across the comp, Sweat's probably the most the nicest comp that Fran Duffy had to offer as far as these draft prospects. So, like, if you look at our big five, you got one edge on here where I think the Cardinals would say that remains probably their biggest need going so at this point. But do they address it there? Does it make sense at 16 or in the first round here? Probably not as much as you look at these really impressive defensive linemen like Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, and Walter Nolan. And, of course, Will Johnson, the real outlier, just if he were to fall at 16 and take him as a corner, as an outside corner, that's probably the exception there.
I had somebody tell me recently, just reiterating, like remember the plan. And you and I know the plan. Everybody knows the plan. The plan was we're going to get an edge rusher in free agency, and we're going to get an edge rusher in the draft, right? Mm-hmm. And again, even if Mykel Williams is not there, we're going to talk about his rise here in a second. Like, then we start talking about, do they go back up into the first round and get somebody else? Because I think you and I are on the same page. There is not an edge rusher, in our opinion, that makes a ton of sense, save for Mykel Williams or Jalen Walker at pick 16. I think if you were to tell me right now, if we fast forwarded to Thursday night and you told me the Cardinals selected a non-Georgia edge rusher at pick 16, I'd be pretty taken back by that. Given everything we know about JG and company, the fact that their top 30 visits were very heavy with guys that you wouldn't assume would go 16. Now, this is a little bit of a different class where maybe guys are going to be all over the place. I don't know. And it takes two to tango with a trade down. But I just feel the closer we get to this, Mykel Williams should be the favorite for the Arizona Cardinals. He feels the biggest need remaining on this roster. Don't give me Baron Browning. Don't give me Zaven Collins, respectfully. Like, that's the guy that you pair with Josh Sweat this year, this fall, right? They have, you'll say what you want about defensive tackle. They've got a ton of guys this year that can help them get better exponentially compared to last year through the season, right? Like Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon. Those guys are all going to be great players, I hope, but they don't have to be great year one for the Cardinals. Like, Mykel Williams matches a need with, hey, we think you can be a stud, and we need you to be a stud this year for us.
Yeah, look, I mean, 6'5", 260. He's the prototype, right? He's got long arms. He's had success. He's been productive. He's a guy that this year, if you look at his draft profile, I highly encourage you to do it. Very thorough by our guy Fran Duffy, where at the combine, it's Mykel Williams talking about the foot injury that he really kind of endured throughout this past season, where he felt like he was less than 60%, and he still was able to go up there and make Kelvin Banks look foolish playing for Texas. Like, he is a guy that where people say, well, can he make the impact as you want immediately from the pass rush position? Well, the pressure isn't on like it was for a guy like Darius Robin, BJ Ojulari early on, where it's like, okay, you have Josh Sweat, you have Baron Browning, who you feel content with, that can go out there and do many of the things that you want your pass rush outside linebackers to do. Zaven Collins as well, Ojulari coming back from injury, so he can fit into the rotation and learn from some people, especially Josh Sweat, that I think should be able to put him in a position for success, where it's just not like go out there and you need to produce. Right. And if you don't, the team's going to suffer for it.
Mm-hmm. You had this graphic made, I think, the day I was absent. It's tremendous with you and David comparing Josh Sweat and Mykel Williams coming out. I mean, the statistics are, it's pretty eye-opening. I mean, hand size the same, arm length. I do think Mykel Williams, of course, Sweat was a fourth rounder, Mykel Williams is, I think, a much higher upside. And not to
Look
discredit
at that
Sweat.
age too. Look at that,
Right.
20 years old right now.
Yeah.
Can't even go to a bar and order a drink.
He's a bigger guy than Josh
Mhm.
Sweat by just a tick. And if he is drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, you'll see that firsthand. But it's interesting. We talked about Mykel Williams, and I think you and I, prior to today, would have said, yeah, it's probably a coin flip if he's there. We have the Vegas odds that we broke down a little bit on Friday's show. I want to reiterate. But the last time I checked, which I need to check again while we're live here, Vegas has Mykel Williams over under 15.5, meaning the floor is the Arizona Cardinals, right? But then came this tweet by Peter Schrager, who, by the way, has predicted the Cardinals' last 5 first-round picks. Here's the tweet here. Peter Schrager, having spent the entire weekend on the phones, here are 2 names who will go higher than where the consensus mock drafts have them going right now. Mykel Williams and Colston Lovelin. Plenty more to come this week. My mock goes up Wednesday. Not great.
No.
I mean, great for Colston Lovelin. More of that, please. How about 2 tight ends in the top 15? Would absolutely love to see that. But I read this as Mykel Williams to the Niners, Mykel Williams to the Jets, right? You put that out there, it feels like top 12 for Mykel Williams.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the tough part about picking 16. I mean, you have the guys that you don't even really tantalize yourself with, right? You like Mason Graham, Abdul Carty, Travis Hunter. Those guys you've never even had that type of pipe dream. But then you get into this conversation, especially in this draft where everybody's so close together. And then there's conversations about Janty going and, how many tight ends and how many quarterbacks. But then reality sets in and teams, sometimes they outsmart themselves in the middle of the draft process, but come to their senses before being on the clock. And I think that's what you're going to see with the prospect like Mykel Williams, where you see he's just kind of the prototypical pass rusher. But the unfortunate thing is, Johnny, it's you've got those 3 guys that I mentioned, and Graham and Hunter and Abdul Carter, who are still going, and Jalen Walker's probably still going to go, and Will Johnson's probably going to go. I mean, those are just 5 guys. Now you have Mykel Williams. Those are 6 guys with 9 more picks to have to endure before the Cardinals are on the clock, right? It's you've got Cam Ward going 1-1. You've got Abdul Carter going 1-2, and then you've got probably Travis Hunter going 1-3, and we'll see what happens with New England. Do they take the tackle out of LSU and Campbell, and does Jacksonville take Graham? Vegas goes Janty, and then the Jets. I think that's where you really can start the conversation about Mykel Williams is going to Gang Green, and then Carolina seems like a lock with J.C. Horn posting pictures of Jalen Walker going to Carolina and on his Instagram page, and New Orleans not being on Shedeur Sanders, also a place where Mykel Williams could go, and Chicago, complete wild card. You hope that they continue to have draft malfeasance, but they could wisen up and have the pick in front of the Cardinals. And that John Lynch and Brandon Shanahan at time, Kyle Shanahan can make, good moves. They could take Mykel Williams. I don't know if Dallas would. I think Miami, that'd be a nice little combo with Chop Robinson, and Indy and Atlanta absolutely could.
We've always talked about it, that when we'd focused on 10 through 15, that was kind of murderer's row, right? We had to hold on for dear life with pass rushers and defensive linemen. And if you're talking about now, it starts with the Jets at 7, that's a little bit of a horror show. We've talked about it ad nauseum last week or 2 weeks ago when that Derek Carr news came out. Are the Saints just let's just go BPA at a premium position? We have no business taking Shedeur Sanders. Our team is ass. We're not any good. We're not going to win any games. What happens if this is the horror show? Jets, Carolina, New Orleans, Chicago, San Fran, Dallas, Miami, Indy, and Atlanta all just say, we're going to lean into the strength of this draft. We're not going to take tight ends and receivers. We're not going to take Shedeur Sanders. We're just going to take offensive line and defensive linemen. We're going to take defensive linemen because that's the best position group in this draft. I mean, I hope this is not a repeat. I mean, we all remember 2021 what that draft class looked like, and it was a better class by and large. Cardinals also picking 16th overall. None of the who's who of players fell at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Mac Jones was the 15th overall pick. Cardinals settled for Zaven Collins at 16.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, could Devontae Parker or Devontae Adams fall? Or, excuse me, the receiver for Philadelphia, Devontae Smith. Could Devontae Smith fall? No. Could Micah Parsons fall? No. All these players that we talked about, and the Cardinals would have taken any of them. They had a needed edge rusher, corner, wide receiver, all of them. And it didn't, and nobody fell.
Here's the difference, though. Steve Keim probably handcuffed himself with his lack of scouting.
Yeah.
His ability to scout true NFL talent. Where I think that's going to be the difference for Monti Ossenfort. Like, Monti Ossenfort's going to be able to identify somebody at 16 that fits his team, but can he maximize the value of the 16th overall pick at that spot? Like, I see our guy in the chat here saying that's why you trade down. And absolutely, in a perfect scenario, yeah, you trade down. It's B saying that. Yeah, absolutely. B's like Monti Ossenfort. I'm sure if that's how the board falls, and all these, big time players that you would love to fall in your lap as the Arizona Cardinals don't, like, the first move would be like, get me out of here. First team that wants to trade up, let's make a deal. But who's going to want to do it? For who? Like, if those players are off the board, who's going to have value? Teams behind them, like, there's the quarterback needy teams, but there's, like, I think the league understands the quarterbacks in this class. And is anybody really going to want to give up anything of value to get up the board? So, it becomes tricky there. So the thing I do trust more so, with Monti over Keim is, like, he's just going to take Zaven Collins, like, hey, here's this guy that, we like. I think he would look good in this position for us. I don't know definitively, where I'm sure Monti Ossenfort's got his board just, it's immaculate. Like, he told us last week during his pre-draft press conference where they tell you a whole lot, but nothing at the same time. The one thing that you could pick up is they're going to go through as many scenarios as possible. Him and his staff are going to mock draft. They're going to take as many players off the board and go through as many scenarios so they know what to expect. So when 16 does come up, they're not handcuffed into saying, well, this is who we have in this spot. Let's just take them and just drop to our knees and pray to the football gods that it's going to work out for them. Like, I'm sure they're going to be able to find some of that they view as can be productive for the Cardinals. It's just like, is that 16th overall in this draft? It probably is, but most wouldn't be.
Let's take a look at our top 30 visitor hierarchy here. It's a tremendous graphic. And I think as we get closer to Thursday, I mean, that group on the left becomes more and more vital to discuss, like, what are you comfortable doing? And maybe we need to revise this week. Like, we're hoping to have Mike Garafolo on tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest, Bo. And we need some clarity as it relates to Derek Harmon. I think we need some clarity as it relates to, where some of these guys are going to fall. Mm-hmm. James Pierce Jr., Shamar Stewart, are they back half of the first round guys now? Like, what's the perception around the league of Walter Nolan and I would include like a Derek Harmon compared to Shamar Stewart and James Pierce? Like, that's a question I want to answer.
Yeah. It's a very tough, answer to give you right now. But like, when I look at this, I ask you in the chat, when you see like Jalen Walker, Will Johnson, Mykel Williams, Walter Nolan, James Pierce Jr., Shamar Stewart, Kenneth Grant, Kelvin Banks, we'll throw in, we'll stop there actually. Like, how many of these guys do you feel strong sense is going to be gone by the time the Cardinals pick? Like,
none outside of the two Georgia pass rushers. None. I think I think there's a good chance that Kelvin Banks Jr. somehow makes it there. I mean, Will Johnson, we'll see. I get, maybe I need to rephrase that. I'm at the point now where Jalen Walker's a top 10 lock. The Schrager report does not have me feeling good about Mykel Williams at all. So let's just assume he's gone now. Will Johnson, coin flip. Kelvin Banks Jr., maybe a little bit better of a coin flip. Like a lock, slam dunk that'll be there. I mean, based on everything that we're hearing right now, James Pierce Jr., Stewart, Kenneth Grant, and maybe I would say Walter Nolan's what if he's DT2? Somebody just takes him in front of the Cardinals. Like
Yeah.
I think the only group is the Pierce, Stewart, and Grant, I would say, are the 3 locks, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's kind of the pool you're looking at, right? I mean,
Yeah.
realistically, that's sad. It's sad. It's not as exciting as Walker and Johnson and Mykel Williams.
I mean, there's a good shot that some of these guys are still going to be around, but I'm just saying, like, how can Colston, Lovelin, and Warren, the tight end from Penn State, go in the top 15, and then like some of those guys don't fall like that? Come on, that's not how this works here.
Bad teams are bad, right? They stay bad,
right? Like they'll push some of those guys down then as a result.
I mean, there's still a long way to go. There's still a long way to go because, start to do the math as we were talking, as I was talking to Albright. It's like you start doing the calculus here, and it's a crunch, man. When you try to start to kind of for the Arizona Cardinals, like who can be on the board, as you start to subtract here, like it's a lot, I guess, shower of a pool than you expected, especially like when you start having these pipe dreams because of who they bring in for top 30s. But I think that also is why they were talking to so many players during this pre-draft process. They wanted to vet them out. And like, that's why you couldn't eliminate it. It's like, because the Cardinals couldn't eliminate it. It's like, we can't eliminate James Pierce Jr. off our board just because there's, some red flags. It's like, that's the caliber of athlete. We're not picking in the upper echelon in this draft any longer, which is a testament to our success. Sure, we're not where we want to be, but like, we're not 3, we're not 4 again. Mm-hmm. Like 16. And that's it just becomes a little bit of a tougher evaluation.
And just at what point are we going to be sitting there on Thursday night at Gila River Resorts and Casinos and look at each other and think to ourselves with a capacity crowd, like, is pass rusher out of play for pick 16?
At 16.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's strange. It is strange to say it this way, but I think as far as just the tiers of pass rushers, it becomes easier to find one at 47 than it does at 16, because I think you would be punting potentially on the value at 16. Like, even though the need is greater, that like if when you look at Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan potentially being there, the defensive line, Derek Harmon, it would just be like, oh, okay, that's a first round talent. Where if you get deeper and like, Ezeraku, is he a first round talent? Is James Pierce Jr., is JPJ, is the juice worth the squeeze here at 16th overall? It's way easier to swallow down at 47. That's a second round pick. I think it becomes a little bit easier because then you're dealing with like, Landon Jackson looks great at 47. JT Tuamolo looks great at 47. I
mean, it's more of a, I don't want to say, like, I don't like that term developmental. I know Josh Weinfuss talked about developmental, but you're only taking a pass rusher at 16. It probably is more of a developmental guy that does Baron Brown and start over a JT or a Landon Jackson. Who knows? But what about, I still think maybe you trade down into the 20s and it becomes easier to stomach a Stewart or, for people who are anti-James Pierce Jr., we don't subscribe to that, but to each their own. His Vegas over-under odds are 31.5. I mean, we've got some odds here that I pulled before the show. I'll just rip through him here. Mykel Williams, 15.5. Jahdae Barron, 18.5. Pierce, 31.5. Jahad Campbell, 18.5. Mike Green, once upon a time, was top 15 pretty consistently. He's fallen a little bit, 17.5 for Mike Green. And then Kelvin Banks Jr. at 13.5. Mike Green, by the way, I was trying to get this confirmed, Bo. I'm not sure there's any report of a Mike Green top 30 visit for any team. Hayden Winks on Twitter does a nice job. He's the director of Underdog Fantasy. Says, I can't find a single top 30 visit for potential top 20 pick Mike Green, who, of course, has 2 sexual assault allegations in his past. The backstory on those must be obvious to teams, or nobody's trying to show their interest pre-draft. Let's see here, man. What happens then? Like, we've been shoehorning Mike Green into the
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons,
Right.
right? What happens if the Falcons are like, you know what? Second thought, Mike, we're good. We're going to go with somebody else, right? Then that becomes a dangerous spot. It's a little bit like who's going to call who's bluff here
Right.
on Thursday night.
It's the standoff, right? It's a
Yeah.
showdown. It's the Office when you got Andy, Michael Scott, and Dwight, and they've got each other at gunpoint, right? And who's like, is everybody trying to keep a strong poker face here league wide? You got Jordan Schultz, who I'm sure is being a mouthpiece for the agent, saying, "Hey, Mike Green is a top 10 pick," right? And he's doing that with some insight, obviously, from Green's representation, and then also what he's hearing from around the league. But it is fascinating that teams are just kind of sitting on the sidelines and they're not going to utilize these tools to get to know this kind of mysterious prospect who has one good season, but it's not for a Power 4 school. It's for Marshall. And he had to move from a Power 4 conference because, one of these incidents, one of two incidents that he's been kind of, that he's acknowledged. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a fascinating case come Thursday, but it's something where it's like you, me, everybody in the chat, everybody trying to kind of play weather forecaster here can't forecast where this guy's actually going to fall.
Benjamin Albright said he did not, in response to Hayden's tweet, Mike Green has not taken a visit. He's done 4 phone calls, and the team reportedly that has shown the most interest are the Cincinnati Bengals. So, like, I think the days of Mike Green, maybe, unless there's some posturing going on. I mean, the 17.5, Vegas feels like it feels pretty spot on right now. Man, you just hope we get to Thursday and these teams aren't suddenly like, you know what? Defensive linemen from Ole Miss and Oregon, those guys can play. They're pretty good. What about the Georgia guys? Let's just do that, right? It's all we can talk about tomorrow. Hampton and Trayvon Henderson or whatever, and it's all fun and games talking about tight ends and running backs and Matthew Golden. But we get to Thursday night and these teams are like, actually, we're gonna go chalk, right? We're just gonna go chalk and make this easy, which does not make things easy for the Arizona Cardinals. But Bo, unlike last year, you have an opportunity, even if because I don't think trading down this year, barring for a Shedeur Sanders, somebody comes up to get him, the trade value chart becomes difficult because I think that if you're Ossenfort and you're enticing a trade up, you might have to do 75 cents on the dollar, right? You might have to go 4 to 6 spots down and take less than maybe in prior years in loaded classes. All that to say, though, like, you get an extra 3rd round pick and then you have ammo to then move back up. I think that then needs to become the play. Let's walk through a scenario here. If the pass rushers of Note are gone, and for whatever reason they don't love the defensive tackles available, I'm gonna pose a scenario for you. Trade down to the early 20s. You get a 3rd and maybe some change. Does it entice you then to package the 3rd, whether your own or the new one you acquired, to move up from 47? Because I think that then needs to be enter the equation of whatever position unit maybe you miss. Maybe you still take Kenneth Grant at 21, 22, whatever. Then you need to, in my opinion, then you need to be aggressive coming up from 47, which he has not shown a propensity to do on day 2, by the way.
Yeah, I think it makes just your job that much more challenging, doesn't it? Like, because then, like, and I don't think it's like a slam dunk that you go Grant there. Do you go with Josh Simmons instead? Like, because he does have the versatility to kick back over to the right tackle spot where he played at San Diego State, and you have maybe more of a luxury to kind of it'd be a longer play. And but the question you're saying is the pressure on to get up to make sure that you don't miss out on the second wave of edge rushers? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. If you trade down, you get a D tackle, right, of note, not an edge rusher, but a D tackle. Do you feel like there's a, or even if you stay at 16, I guess, do you feel pressure? It's a long time to wait for an edge rusher at 47. I know 47's smack dab in the middle of the second round, but I mean, like, I'm putting together a mock draft. It's going to drop on Tuesday morning for free, 2 rounds at gophnx.com. going through those mocks, going through my own, draft big board, Fran Duffy, it's like, gets picked clean pretty quickly here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I think Monti has shown the ability to kind of have a nice pulse of. Like, he knew that with early in the draft when he traded down, he had to get back up to get in the tackle to get Paris Johnson Jr.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of had a sense, like, we're going to get Darius Robinson, and we're probably not going to have anybody that we really like here in the next couple rounds. And he was able to, like, hey, we like Max Melton. We think he's the same as these other DBs, and he forecasted, I think, correctly at the DB position. But you can that also there's some luck involved too. So I think he trusts his board ultimately, and that's when it comes down to is like, okay, these guys are going to be in this range, and I feel confident that they're going to be there. So if he makes a move up, it's just a telltale sign that he felt like there wasn't going to be a player that was going to be there. I just don't know if he's going to put him in that position where it's like, hey, if we trade down, then we're going to have to trade back up. Like that. It really just kind of puts you in a real vulnerable spot overall. And I don't think he would want to do that.
It'd be interesting.
The latest mock draft from our guy Fran Duffy had, the guy we're talking about here, the favorite, Mykel Williams. He had the Cardinals trading up from 16 to 13 in his mock draft. Aggressively get up the board. It was like conversations that we're having and the reports that we're seeing from Schrager. I don't feel confident even if you're up at 13, you get a chance to get Mykel Williams.
I mean, I miss the compensation. Did he break down what the Cardinals had to give up?
I mean, it was only 3 spots. So
probably 78, pick 78.
Yeah.
We'll just operate under that assumption. I mean, trading up in this class, it doesn't feel like something Ossenfort is wired to do.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, again, navigate that sweet spot of about 20 to 40 and try to get 2 picks within that range. That's been my mindset all along. And I think trading resources for, unless you feel like Mykel Williams is, a 15 sack a year guy in your scheme, then, I'm not going to behoove them for doing something like that. But to your point, like Mykel Williams, if he starts to fall and you want to jump a team or two, no problem with that. But with Schrager's report, if you're just joining us right now, we've got over 300 watching live on Easter Sunday. We love you, all of you sickos. Drop a like on this show. This was Schrager's tweet at 7 p.m. So right as we were working on the show for tonight, and ready to reveal that we believe Mykel Williams is the favorite, should be the favorite. Mykel Williams is one of the fastest risers right now. I'd love to see Kelvin Banks Jr. on this list. I was hoping for something like that. I mean,
Colson Lovelin is nice. It's nice to see him up.
But like, what's a fast rising Colston Lovelin? Like fringe first rounder, like top 20? Colston. I'm gonna be pissed now if Colston Lovelin doesn't go by the Arizona Cardinals. I'm gonna be like, come on, Peter Schrager, what the hell? That doesn't do us any good. Colston Lovelin needs to go to the Indianapolis Colts now, please. That needs to happen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the Lovelin and Warren tight end duo in front of the Cardinals just has to happen. And with the running back mixed in, quarterback mixed in, and sprinkle in one of those wide receivers is not 2 of them.
Yeah,
it's just it's necessary at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just the wide receiver group has zero juice, negative juice, right? I feel like, barring something unforeseen, you're looking at Dallas, and that's about it for a potential. And typically, like, they usually, like, say what you want about Jerry, like, he gets pretty good value in recent drafts, right? CeeDee Lamb fell to him. They didn't necessarily need a wideout. They took him. They've done the better. They've drafted relatively well over the last like 7 to 10 years. It's been all the other ways they've operated the team. But so, like, I am not expecting just an outlandish pick by senile Jerry Jones, but we need something like that. We need Jim Irsay to try to grab the telephone, the draft phone away from Colts brass and take over there.
Might not even have to the way Ballard's drafted recently.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Ballard, Ryan Poles. We need these people to just lose their what on Thursday night. That's our hope, because to your point, Shanahan, Miami, these teams, are relatively buttoned up come the first round.
Like when the Bears get into the war room, like Ryan Poles, like people get that eerie feeling like, we've felt this before after all this pre-draft planning, and we're going to go tackle, or we're going to go premium position. We're going to set up Caleb Williams for success instead of playing fantasy football. It's like, well, what if we put Ty Warren with them? Or what if we go with Trayvon Williams? Like Henderson, I'm sorry. What if we go with Trayvon Henderson? Like that would with them and the Colts and all these just bad organizations. Jaguars way up the top in the top 5. Like you just hope for somebody to get just kind of a wild kind of hair and just go and try to draft some position that has no business being in the top 10, top 15.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Multiple times.
Yes, 1,000%. We need that like we need air. Jacob poses a good statement in the chat. By the way, hit us with super chats. We're reading them. We'll stay on till you guys are ready to go to bed on Easter Sunday. Don't like the edge. Simple take Walter Nolan or Derek Harmon. It's not that hard. So let me ask you this. Let's assume that no available pass rushers realistically are there for you to take at 16. There is no option to trade down. Okay. I'm going to say in this scenario that Will Johnson is not available because you've used that as a cop-out. In recent drafts, you like Will Johnson, his value. Kelvin Banks is available, whatever. Who is your guess for who they would take in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see Walter Nolan. I wouldn't mind Derek Harmon, because then the path to finishing the rebuild, I think, of the defensive front 7 remains, right? Yeah. You get the defensive lineman now, and then at 47, there should be, I would think, 3 to 4 guys you could get off the edge. And when you have the strength up the middle like Philly did, right? Like Philly didn't have a full complement. It wasn't 2022 where it was Sweat and it was, Hassan Reddick just flying off the edge. It was, Sweat and some complementary pieces. Most of the work was done in from the interior. And if you build from the inside out, I think you're going to be in a way better spot. Like now you have more of like a complementary pass rush instead of the strength. So yeah, I'll take that, because then your interior defensive line looks like Darius Robinson, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, and either Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon. That looks really good. And then your pass rush could potentially look like, Josh Sweat, BJ Ojulari, Baron Browning, Zaven Collins, and maybe, Landon Jackson. And that defensive front 7,
way better.
I'll take that. I'll sign me up right now. I'll sign me up right now for that.
Walter Nolan, by the way, I agree with you. And again, like if they take Harmon or Walter Nolan, nobody would have an issue with that. I think universally, our chat, people will be excited about either of those players. Walter Nolan had a busy week. He met with the Cardinals. We know that. He met with the Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers. And if you ask me right now, like what's the favorite for the 49ers, like outside of drafting in the heir apparent to Trent Williams, if Membo or Will Campbell were to fall, I don't know if they're in on Kelvin Banks, who a lot of people think is just an outright guard now, which is just an even more of a disaster class for that selection. Like I think San Francisco is going to lean into defensive tackle. Their defensive tackle group is atrocious. They've had good luck drafting first-round defensive tackle sans Javon Kinlaw in recent years. So I think they try to get that position unit cleaned up. That's the tough part. Is worst case scenario no Harmon, no Nolan, no Mykel Williams? Is that the worst? Is that the worst case scenario? So we're sitting there and it's like, yeah, some of the other guys might fall. In that scenario, maybe Will Johnson's available, maybe not. Is that the worst of all realities in your opinion?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, right? I mean, there would be like 2 or 3 curveballs mixed in there where you've got, maybe Janty. I mean, Janty could probably go in a quarterback, and then the rest is just straight defensive
Chalk.
front
Chalking it
7
up.
player. Yeah. That'd be tough. Like no draft day is gone like that though.
I don't know, man. So let me read this. I wanted to read this earlier, and apologies, I didn't have this for the show tonight. The 2021 NFL draft, it just brings back so much PTSD. So the Cardinals picked 16th overall. Okay.
I mean, you could trade up for Trey Lance in that draft like the Niners did.
It's so true. Just making smart moves. More of that, please, John Lynch. All right. There were a couple trade ups for quarterbacks. None of them worked. All right. So remember there was talk too, by the way, before that draft that Kime wanted to trade up for Kyle Pitts. Do you remember that? It was like, Kime really likes Kyle Pitts. That would have been the most Kime trade up of all time. All right. So we assume Waddle, Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell, those guys weren't going to fall. Okay. The Cardinals were in on J.C. Horn. Pro Bowler went to Carolina. They were in on Patrick Surtain. They worked him out. Pro Bowler, Defensive Player of the Year, went to the Broncos. They were in on Devontae Smith. They wanted Devontae Smith. They liked him a lot. He went 10th to the Eagles. The Bears traded up to 11th for Justin Fields. Okay. The Cardinals were in hard on Micah Parsons. He went 12th. They had worked out Rashawn Slater, Pro Bowler for the Chargers. He went 13th. They also liked, Elijah Vera Tucker. He went 14th to the Jets. And then, of course, Mac Jones went 15th. And supposedly they were going to take Zaven Collins had they not taken Mac Jones. So that was the worst of all realities. I remember watching that draft and just thinking, are they going to take a running back 16th overall that cannot move, straight line in what's his name? The kid from Alabama.
Najee
Harris.
Yeah.
It's a bad draft.
It was. But like I said, my point earlier is like Steve Keim, you pluck all his options away and he's just going to left there like his pockets hanging out of his pants. Like, hey, I got nothing, right? But Monti Ossenfort isn't going to be sitting there. I mean, he's going to have his break glass in case of emergency prospect. He's going to be prepared for it. He's going to probably prefer to move down. If he can't, he'll just bite the bullet and take a player that he probably feels would be productive. Like, is it going to be as big of an impact maker as he envisions as far as these other players? No, but that's the reality of the draft. And then be able to still build through the draft down the board. So, yeah, I mean, it's way different. Like, when you looked at like the plan A, Bs, and Cs, it's like they're general managers of 2 different sports between Keim and Ossenfort.
Yeah, man, it just goes to show, like, with this team in particular, sometimes just do what makes sense given the circumstances and stick to your board. And we know they've set their board already and they're going through scenarios. You may not have a team that there's going to be a lot of clamoring Thursday if they're on the clock and the board is picked clean, at least to our liking, trade down. Like, I feel like Ossenfort would trade down if he could. And if he can't trade down, then he's going to have to stick. He's been more susceptible to trading down than any general manager of my adult life, right? There was talk of him trading down last year at 27. He ended up doing it. Yeah. He's traded down in back-to-back second rounds, and he traded down from 3 to 12, and then, of course, traded back up in his first ever draft with his first ever pick. Like, I feel like if there's a chance to get a decent day 2 pick, he will go for that.
Yeah.
But that's easier said than done with this class. I just feel like there has to be a player and probably a quarterback, right? It feels a quarterback or maybe Kelvin Banks Jr. I feel like are the 2 kind of prospects where Shedeur and a left tackle. Mm-hmm. Because if there's a quality defensive lineman, the Cardinals should just take that player. No one's trading up for a receiver. No one's trading up for a running back, or you would assume a tight end. Mm-hmm. The trade up, metric for me is
you have to trade up to get in front of somebody that
right.
a team that they say would value that player too. And it's like it's so uneven across this draft board. Is like, who do we like? We like this guy. Like, who's going to stand in front of us to get him in this draft?
Right.
especially like if you're going to do like an outside the box, maybe non-premium position, or you're going to, in this case, go with a quarterback that teams don't have scouted as first round value. One player that's really kind of curious that we haven't mentioned throughout these doomsday scenarios is Shedeur Sanders, pass rusher out of Texas A&M that just was not productive at the collegiate level. We did our prospect breakdown with Fran Duffy, you and myself, and basically said, like, we see what, talent evaluators see in Shedeur Sanders, whereas the measurables, it's the workouts, they're incredible. Then you see the lack of production, and you would much rather another team take that swing on Shedeur Sanders than the Cardinals. If this dark reality that you keep on bringing up, the Snyder cut here of the NFL draft, like where does Shedeur Sanders fit in it? Because I don't imagine he would be one of the first 15 picks. He would be there if the Cardinals wanted him.
I think this is going to sound crazy. I think the Cardinals are a team where they would get a pass for taking him because of who they have in their building, Rallis and Gannon, their respect that they command nationally for being able to develop pass rushers, defensive linemen. The fact that if that were to happen, you're talking about the board would have to fall a very specific way and not in favor for the Cardinals, right? We assume. And so, like, is it my preference? It is not my preference. That's a little scary. But what is the upside? The upside is he is the unicorn and the ultimate, gamble. Whereas if he hits, then you're hitting on the biggest freak in the draft, save for Abdul Carter at the position. So if they took him, it would take me a second to get my bearings about me, but I wouldn't hate it. Like, there are picks I would hate. I would hate a guard at 16. I would hate an off-ball linebacker at 16, and we've made no bones about that. If there's a kid who you feel like it can be a freak show edge rusher that, for whatever reason, it didn't click collegiately, program, position, scheme, whatever, and you're like, we can do it, then I trust them to do it. I give them the benefit of the doubt because I've watched this coaching staff 15th in points per game this year with nothing to show for it, with a gauntlet of a schedule, Pro Bowl quarterback after Pro Bowl quarterback, no athletes on the edge. So who am I to say, don't take this athlete, 16th overall, if you feel like you can make him into a guy. And if you love him, he may be a great kid too. I don't know.
I see people saying that Shedeur Sanders is Baron Browning 2.0.
No chance.
Guys, he's 6'6", he's 290. Like, and he can fluctuate his weight. They had him play a little bit lower weight and then his back, up towards 290. His RAS score was 10 out of 10. Like, he's a freak. He's an absolute freak. Like, and Baron Browning's pretty freakish in his own right? But I mean, Shedeur Sanders is an absolute animal. And it's like, if the board it's so strategically like pick clean to where like all almost outside of Cam Ward, like the 16 picks, or I should say the 15 picks that go ahead and be on the clock are guys that they identified as fits for them. And they're sitting there like, we just went 0 for 14 at the blackjack table. We're out of chips. Like, and Shedeur Sanders is there. Like, I could see it, like you could probably talk me into it, but I'm almost positive like it's probably not going to happen. I don't agree with Tim here. Like, you should care a little bit about RAS. Like, I'm not, you can't build your case around it. But in this scenario where you're drawing almost completely dead as far as first round talent, like
this is like break glass in case of emergency, Tim. And also, Brian points it out. It was the point I was going to make. Like, RAS shouldn't dictate everything. I'm with Tim.
Right.
You know who cares about RAS? The flipping Cardinals, because they took a blocking tight end based squarely off of RAS in the 3rd round last year, where the kid on paper probably should have easily gone on day 3. Like, that showed us everything we needed. And you know who else was an RAS darling last year? Dallas Turner. And they tried to trade up for him. They like that stuff. They eat it up.
You know who was RAS darling?
Who's that?
Tip Ryman.
Yeah, that was my point. Tip Ryman was an RAS darling. Now, Tip Ryman, though, had tape of him mauling people as a blocker, right?
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart, if we try to put together a highlight package for Thursday night at Gila River, we would get copyright.
It would be all combine. It'd be all combine.
There'd be no footage. It'd be like taking
workout.
a kid. It'd be like taking a kid that played overseas rugby, and it was like, where are your football highlights? We don't have any. Okay. Whoops.
So the debate becomes then, like, do you feel more comfortable, especially if you're, dead set? Like in this scenario, we're saying probably most defensive tackles, linemen that you like there, the Harmons, the Nolans, the Kenneth Grants are gone.
Yeah.
Along with Will Johnson. You're looking at a grouping of outside linebacker players where it would be like Shamar Stewart. It would be like Donovan Ezeraku. It would be like Nick Scorton in those situations. So, like, who do you feel the most comfortable taking in that spot?
The kid that they brought in for a top 30 visit.
Scorton?
No, they didn't have Scorton for a top 30.
Shamar,
did they? Let me check. Let's check. Yeah, they did. I'm sorry. I would say the most comfortable. I'll push back. I don't think Kenneth Grant will be gone. I think Kenneth Grant is available when the Cardinals pick. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I do too.
Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, I want to believe that they'll be there, but I have no idea. But of the scenarios you just outlined, I'll play ball here. Like Shamar Stewart, Kenneth Grant, Scorton. I'm not going to do Ezeraku because they didn't work him out top 30. I don't care what Ossenfort lying to our faces last week. Like top 30 reports. What even is a report? It's like, Monty, come on. This stuff's available. This is out there. It's like physicals. Everybody has this information now. You didn't bring Ezeraku in that we know of yet. Also, Derek Harmon. Like, you're probably not going to draft him in the first round, given your track record. I would say probably Shamar Stewart would be the pick with the information we have right now. Because I'm going to tell you right, and I was trying to pull this up. I can't. My page isn't loading. Fran Duffy, Shamar Stewart, he's got him as a first round pick, but he doesn't have him like super, super high, correct?
He has him as his edge. He's got him as his top 100 as 61st. He's got him as edge 7.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
I love Fran, and I think Fran is more in line with a lot of the public where it's like, we're afraid of our franchise taking this guy.
Yeah.
So I had Fran's draft guide pulled up when I was doing my mock. I had a flight back from Chicago. It was a 4-hour flight, and I'm trying to work on this mock draft for Tuesday morning. And I had Dane Brugler's draft guide just to look by comparison. He's got Shamar Stewart as like a top 12 player in this class.
Brugler does.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm reading the write-up about him, and he's saying all the right things where it's like scheme and, kids with this kind of physical traits just typically don't bust. And it's just like, I don't know, man. Like if you're sitting in a room with Jonathan Gannon and Shamar Stewart, and Gannon's like, what'd you do on this play? What'd you do on this play? And he's just kind of out there, just like taking up space. You have to be undeniable on film, but
yeah,
this is where this draft is unpredictable for Cardinal fans. Is that we know they love the 2 Georgia pass rushers. Hey, guess what? They're gone, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe Will Johnson isn't beloved, or he goes ahead of him. He's not available. It's like, and then D tackle goes to the Niners. Like, then what do you do? We're gonna be in a tricky spot later this week, Bo.
No doubt about it. But we cannot wait to get there as we are officially in draft week. It is the Sunday of NFL draft week. I think I saw somebody say, like, Peter Schrager, who's very accurate as far as these things because he takes it seriously. He utilizes his sources throughout the league to do the most accurate mock he can. And he's done a really good job, as Johnny said, as far as nailing down the Cardinals pick like for the last 5 years. So like Wednesday will be a telltale sign as far as where's Mykel Williams going to go? Like, what's the range? Like if he's in the top 10, like, just kiss that goodbye. If he's right there with his
if he's in the top 12, I think it's over.
Yeah, it's over. It's like Jalen Walker, Mykel Williams, and Will Johnson. It's just like, hey, it was nice to have those conversations, but it was just never in the cards for Arizona.
Here, we're going to get to your super chats. Here's what's in the cards for all of you with tickets still available this Thursday, April 24th. I know it says 5 p.m. We're getting there early. Get there at 4 p.m. Get there at 3:45. Let's hang out. The Upper Deck Kitchen and Bar. Again, you got to be 21 years and older to use your drink tickets that are included with your purchase price, but you don't have to be 21 years and up to come hang out. So I just want to put that out there. If you've got some family, some teenagers that want to come and hang out and enjoy the draft. Hell, I watched a ton of draft as a young man. Come and do that with us at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. We're told, not too many tickets left available. We are reaching max capacity as we speak, and we appreciate everybody who's bought tickets, because I know that this year they went up because the package expanded, right? So you get entry, you get all you can eat buffet, which was not a thing last year. You get 3 drink tickets, and then we've got giveaways, we've got prizes, so much on deck. But of course, we're going to be hanging out there for probably the better part of like 7 hours. Come talk draft, come talk ball with Bo and I. We're fired up to see everybody. And the best part about it is, if you haven't been before, first of all, just take in the photo that we have here on the screen. This is an intimate setting. This is not a one-off. We're sticking you on a lawn somewhere and you're watching a screen for 5 hours. This is all of us hanging, talking ball at the biggest sportsbook casino in Arizona, first-class facility. We can't wait to see you all on Thursday night.
Yeah, we've got just a few tickets remaining. All that inclusive, as you mentioned, with Johnny, with the food and the 3 drink tickets. It's going to be phenomenal. I'll tell you this: we sell this thing out, we're going to get a bigger venue next year. And I also think something we're going to fight for, as far as host of this show, is also have a cheaper option to just get you in the door. But as it stands right now, we sell this thing out. It's going to give us more power going down the line to do more and open things up. We love it, and we're so thankful for everybody that spent their hard-earned dollar in getting to the draft party. We're going to make sure that it's not what we've been talking about, potential busts here on a Sunday night. We're not going to make it be a bust. It's going to be the best draft show in town across the board. You're not going to want to miss it. So go get your tickets today. Go phnx.com, and then we're going to be fighting for next draft. You're going to have a cheaper option to get in there, and then also still have the VIP option where you get all the food and some drinks included as well in the future. But right now, let's go sell those things out, and we're going to have all the power to do whatever this community wants to do in the draft in the future.
And again, we mentioned that earlier in the show. If you're a diehard, you're getting 20% off. So if you're a diehard and you haven't bought your tickets yet, get your tickets now. If you're not a diehard, get a free piece of merch, becoming a diehard, $36. Let's get to, speaking of bucks, super chats. Kicking us off, resident Charger fan, friend of the program, and airline pilot, Charlie Sinclair, friend of the program, 199, going with Derek Harmon at pick 16. That's a non-means of a violent super chat. Usually he comes with, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, jabbing us in the ribs a little bit, but he's going Harmon, which I think a lot of Cardinal fans would give a thumbs up.
I think he wants Harmon off the board, so another maybe higher thought of prospect falls into his Chargers lap. He's never always just being nice and wishing us the best prospect possible, even though we love Charlie.
Never the most genuine. There's always another agenda.
Some sort of backhanded. Here's, why do you guys take Derek Harmon? Slap us across the face.
ID the Mike 91 199. Will Johnson is the pick if he falls. I mean, in the right circumstance. Has anything changed with you with Will Johnson in the last couple days or week or so? Like, do you feel, in a perfect world, like he's a top player the Cardinals will take?
Has anything changed? No, I mean, I still think he's kind of one of those, I think he's in the select group of guys that there's a reality where he could fall, but most likely isn't on the board. Him and Jalen Walker and Mykel Williams, where I think that it would only get tough as to one of those other guys who's on the board. I'm like, I would probably take Jalen Walker ahead of Will Johnson, then Will Johnson second, Mykel Williams third.
Our next 2 super chats after this are also about Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson has a lot of momentum with Cardinal fans. Fleety 831 999. Will Johnson or Monti gets the boot. If he's listen, I think if he's there and Monty passes on him, I think we draw a conclusion. Maybe the league isn't as high on Will Johnson as maybe we are. So you
I
kind
think
of
he's a 6'2", like as far as his measurables, his athleticism, his scheme fit, it all just matches almost perfectly.
not worried about the speed, the 40 time. People are like, oh, is he fast enough to play corner?
He looked pretty fast on his way to a natty with Michigan.
Yeah.
But he also had a killer front seven.
But Will Johnson's got a lot of supporters in Cardinal Nation. He's back, 199. Willie J. Cam Scatterbu, Quinn Ewers, let Monty cook. That's cooking up something. I think Bo might throw up food poisoning after.
Yeah. 1 for 3 ain't bad. That'll get you the Hall of Fame in Major League Baseball, but be bad for Monty Ossenfort.
If Quinn Ewers is drafted by this franchise, like let's say on day 2, like let's say they use pick 47 on Quinn Ewers, like what would our reaction be to that? How would we come to grips with that?
There would be a meltdown. You wouldn't want maybe like friends and family members of that pick tuning into the show.
Yeah.
Like the rest of that night and probably the next like couple days, weeks. Yeah, we'd be pretty distraught if that high of a pick was utilized on a player that you just have no like good feelings about the NFL.
He was so bad in that game against the issue. He got thoroughly outplayed. Jackson, 499. It just feels so good not having to worry about our draft getting butchered. Also, thanks, guys, for all the hard work you do for us viewers. We appreciate you, Jackson. Big thanks to Bo for making time tonight. And, of course, Damon getting the stream ready. But, I mean, it's crazy as it sounds. Like, it's our job. But Bo and I don't look at this as work. This is just
fun.
Yep. But
fun.
It is a good feeling knowing that Ossenfort, last year the third round was a little dicey, but you do feel like with his early picks, Darius last year, Marvin, Paris, people liked the Ojulari pick. The Max Melton pick has turned out to do well. Garrett Williams was a phenomenal pick. Like, you feel like with top 50 selections, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Let's keep that going.
Yeah. CBK, you guys should have Marcus Whitman from the Franchise Guy on the show sometime. Great takes about the Cardinals for a national guy.
Have to check into that maybe post-draft, see what his thoughts are on the Cardinals class once it's in place. That's a great I don't consume his work, but I'll check him out for sure. Thank you, CBK.
How about this? Football King. We want Mykel Williams or Will Johnson, but I'm afraid it will be Banks. I mean,
where's your fear level on that? I don't have a whole lot of it.
I'm more concerned now that there is momentum that people think he can play guard short term. And it's like, are you drafting him to be maybe your right tackle of the future? And you're just going to say, hey, Kelvin Banks Jr., you're going to play left guard this year next to Paris. And then in 2026, you'll be our right tackle. I would say like there's like a 20% chance they could take him. But again, Vegas is telling you that they think he's going to be a top 14 pick with their over under, which you can't get plus money on now, by the way. It would not be my least favorite thing because he plays a premium position. Eventually he will play tackle. He win offensive lineman of the year. Like this is not respectfully Isaiah Simmons, Zaven Collins. Like there are worse scenarios. Like I think the same argument you can make about Will Johnson, you can make about Kelvin Banks Jr. It's like played at a premium program, plays a premium position. Is it our favorite position to address in this draft? No, but the player tops the need. And that is what the good GMs do. So all that to say, I am in the camp of I like the Cardinals offensive line. I don't think it was a liability last year. I don't think it was a reason they didn't make the playoffs. I think you need more consistency from K1, which we've talked about ad nauseum, and you could not, by any stretch of the imagination, rush with 4. And I still think that that's an area where you need to flush young bodies in there. What's your take on it?
I just don't. I don't see the team and just their philosophy of drafting and developing a guy to draft him like, hey, you're going to play over here, and then we're gonna like not just play right tackle and then go over to left tackle, but like you're gonna play guard, you're gonna play inside, and then you're gonna bop outside. Like I don't know if they view that as the best path to development. It's not the same. It's not apples to apples as Paris Johnson Jr. was, where it's also like Paris Johnson Jr. did show the ability to play left side of the line, right side of the line. Like there is a certain ambidextrousness that you need that Kelvin Banks Jr. hasn't had to show. He was predominantly left tackle his entire his career. In fact, he was just a left tackle the entire collegiate career. So, like, is he going to come in with a position change, going to be better and more impactful than Evan Brown at left guard, or Isaiah Adams at right guard, or Jonah Williams at right tackle? I would say no. Is it a better long-term play? Absolutely. But I want to see the Cardinals make the playoffs this year.
You have a franchise left tackle already. You have that position secure. Yeah. You're not in a position to take a guard at 16. You're just not. You're not the Eagles. You're not the Ravens. You become those teams, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Take a guard, take a center, take an off-ball linebacker, take a safety. Ryan Carley, $2. What will give tip response in the draft for both of you? That's a tremendous question, Ryan. That's a tremendous question. I didn't even know about the kind of reaction we could have to Tip Ryman last year until it happened. And then we're feverishly looking him up because, like, I didn't know who the hell he was. Like, I had just gotten to grips with, like, oh, Isaiah Adams played for Illinois. I think I kind of heard his name during draft season, but I super locked in on him. But then it's like you took his teammate several picks later. Is there a player that would do that to you this draft?
Yeah. I mean, there's probably tons of them. We roast so many prospects probably unfairly on this draft, on this podcast anyways. But yeah, I mean, I think at 16th overall, what would give me that knee-jerk response would be like those non-premium positions, like the Jod Campbells, the guards. Like if they took Tyler Booker at 16th overall, I would be pretty disgusted.
The reason why it's such a historic pick for all the wrong reasons is that you have Trey McBride and Tip Ryman does not catch the football. So the best case scenario for Tip Ryman is he's the best blocking tight end in the NFL. And so, like, what's the equivalent of that? I don't even know if there's an equivalent to that.
Yeah. Egbuka from Ohio State. I've gotten tagged in a lot of this on Twitter. It's from NFL Rums, right? Isn't that?
Oh, yeah. The aggregator account. Yeah.
It is not even like an aggregator account. A lot of time it's just
putting stuff out there.
Yeah. I want people to think real hard about NFL Rums and if they've ever delivered you information that came to fruition or became true before it happened. That wasn't an aggregated report. Because I haven't seen anybody else with the Egbuka stuff. And if it's just coming straight from NFL Rums, I'm just gonna say
there's no world that the Cardinals take him. Unless he fell to 47. How about this? Hayden Winks putting out good tweets tonight. Minus 400 for Will Campbell for the 4th overall pick. Minus 400 for those of you novice bettors means you would have to put down $400 to win $100. Will Campbell minus 400.
New England, huh?
Must feel pretty good. He can play left tackle.
So, like, the top 4 are set.
I think I think you just have to wait it out with the Giants. I think Abdul Carter's going 2nd overall. I mean, Travis Hunter falling to Jacksonville wouldn't be the craziest thing.
But so the Giants would take Mason Graham?
Or Shedeur Sanders. Oh. Like I still think what Garofalo told us, and we'll talk to him again this week, like that's not done until it's done, right?
Yeah, because it seems like, in this, Mike never said anything, but like it does seem like there's a power struggle as far as if somebody in high positions. Somebody like Shedeur.
Like, you guys don't have a quarterback. What the hell are you doing? Then they're just like, oh yeah, we'll take him, whatever. I mean, Damon's getting a heartbreak. Almost got minus 150 last week with Campbell, 4th overall. I mean, I just, to me, the draft starts at 7. It starts with the Jets. Genty to the Raiders, Graham to the Jags. Let's just assume Travis Hunter goes to New England. What are the Jets going to do? They have no direction. They have no good players. They could go a bunch of like these teams, the Panthers, the Jets, the Saints. That's the biggest slum. Scrape those franchises off your shoe kind of deal where it's like they could go this way and go, hey, that was a nice pick by them. Damn it. Or they could go this way and be like, you're the biggest joke in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. And you want them to sway that crazy direction. You want to say, like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Like, go tight end. Oh, I hear, you know what? You don't want to miss that. I know Janty's gone. You don't want to miss on the next running back.
That's right. I heard they're getting gobbled up real quick. See those Hampton highlights? Pull up the YouTube. It's like I haven't seen a back like Hampton flash in some time.
I'm talking Henderson. Let's get Trayvon up in here.
If Ryan Poles takes Trayvon Henderson 10th overall, that's the opposite of Tip Ryman for this show. That elevates me to the heavens above. That I'm floating around Gila River. It will be tough to top that moment, even with the Cardinals' own pick on Thursday. Just knowing like what it would do for the infrastructure of CHGO Bears, that I would be able to rewatch that highlight like I did the Hail Mary on repeat. What it would do for players getting pushed down to the Cardinals. Sometimes I enjoy more watching other people crumble inside and break down of their team's choices or choices than I do my own team succeeding.
No doubt about it. And I mean, we want to see those teams after the Raiders because we feel like, you know, Janty's a lock there.
Mm-hmm.
Those teams just take those Mykel Penix. Where did that come from? Swing. Yeah. Feed me 2 to 3 of those moments.
Diego, $2. Can't wait to see JV eat a steak live. #carnivore. We got a lot of airtime to fill, especially on Saturday. So if you want some content, you tune into that live stream, Diego.
Should we get some delivered steaks to the studio? Is that what you want to do?
I mean, are you going to allow me to eat on air for a 7-hour stream on Saturday? Bo typically doesn't like me eating on air. He doesn't like pro wrestling on this show. He doesn't like eating on air. Those are his 2 bugaboos. Damon, never forget the O-line fumble before the Hail Mary.
Unbelievable.
Almost
on the 1 yard line. And was it Shane Waldron that dialed up that play before he was run out of town?
It's a special kind of disaster season for the Bears last year. The Mercado the next week going 50 yards at the end of the half. And it's like, what are you guys doing? That's where the Cardinals in the NFC West, not to get off on a tangent, they get no games or teams like that. Those teams don't exist, right? That's why you can't blow this draft. That's why you got to do well. What a show tonight. 400 people live on Easter Sunday. We're taking you to church, the Church of NFL Prospects. How about that?
Hey.
Ahead of the NFL draft this Thursday. And guess what? No more off days for your boys. We're live the rest of this week through Saturday. There will be at least one show per day, culminating with Thursday, Friday, Saturday, full coverage of the 2025 NFL draft. We've done it since Bo has joined this company. We have gone live for every single pick, and we will continue to do so. Of course, getting kicked off this Thursday at Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Get your tickets now. And then a little appetizer before that. How about Mike Garofalo, Bo, earlier this week?
That's right. We're going to get Mike G in probably Tuesday. And we'll catch up with Fran Duffy on Wednesday. Plus, the Arizona Cardinals will kick off their offseason strength and conditioning program on Wednesday. So we'll get to hear from, I believe, Jonathan Gannon and maybe some of the players on Wednesday, the day before the draft. So we are loaded leading you up to Thursday and then from Thursday through Saturday. Cannot wait for this. It's probably the best week of this podcast year, but it's been a banner month already. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in, watched our videos, watched our shorts, watched our live shows. liked each and every video, if you would drop a like on this video and subscribe to PHNX Sports as our march to 40K continues. We're nearly there. Could be subscriber 40K. That would be unbelievable. Thank you to everybody. Chase, Bees, Tim, Cards Kingdom, Ryan, Cole, Brian X. I see you, like the entire squad here. It was unbelievable. Shaft, Damon for getting this thing going. And Damon and Kevin Thomas crushed it yesterday. If you're looking for something else to tune into tonight, look at their coverage from yesterday's spring game for the University of Arizona Wildcats football program. They talked to the head coach, Brent Brennan. They talked to Noah Fafita, the quarterback, and so many more big-time names with that program. It's unbelievable content. Give them a like on those videos as well.
Drop a like on this video. Let's get it to 400 here on a football Easter Saturday. Hope everybody had a happy, healthy, and safe holiday. We will see you on a football Monday. For Bo, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.